Welcome to the news on Zodiac. You're with me, Robert Karua. Let's have a look at the headlines. We've got these and many more. Stick around. A court in Zomba has found former Mayor Commissioner Linda Kunje with a case to answer in a matter she stands accused of obstructing the presidential convoy last year. Kunje is answering the case along with her official driver, then John Stewesa. The two are expected to parade witnesses when the matter resumes. Emmanuel Chibwana was at the court.
Chief Resident Magistrate Austin Banda in Zomba has found the two with a case to answer. And according to him, evidence presented in court was sufficient enough for them to explain themselves how they conducted themselves during the alleged obstruction of the presidential convoy. According to a lawyer for Linda Kunje, who was a former Electoral Commissioner, Christopher Masanji, says they are not very surprised that it has reached this far, because in any criminal matter, this stage is always expected. He says the state is expected to examine the two during presentation of evidence. Today, John Stewesa wasn't around, but Linda Kunje was in court. So what will happen is the court will announce a date when the two are supposed to tender evidence against what the state produced in court. So summarily, this is what has happened at Zomba Chief Resident Magistrate Court today.
Meanwhile, in Mzuzu, the police have arrested a truck driver for allegedly obstructing President Chakwera's convoy in Mzimba on Sunday. National Police spokesperson James Karazela says the driver is Lusungu Chibisa. And now Malawi Defence Force soldiers have managed to clear the M5 road at Mazembe single-lane bridge in Nkatabe, where two trucks collided head-on, blocking the way for Lakeshore Road users. People were stranded on the bridge for over 15 hours. Nkatabe Police Station spokesperson Kondwani James confirmed that traffic is now flowing on the road. John Pokayuni reports.
Traffic flow has resumed on the M5 road at Mazembe single-lane bridge in Nkatabe after Malawi Defence Force MDF soldiers managed to tow two trucks off the bridge. Mazembe Bridge is one of the single-lane bridges on the Lakeshore Road. The trucks, one carrying sugar from Luangwa in Kotakota heading Nkatabe direction, and another from Nkatabe direction heading to Kotakota, had a head-on collision on the bridge on Sunday, blocking traffic in the process. The accident occurred around 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Sunday. Nkatabe Police Station spokesperson Kondwani James confirmed the development, adding no one has been injured in the accident. Moments ago, the police spokesperson said the soldiers are on site and have managed to clear the road for traffic.
At the weekend, Mkukula Magistrate Court in Lumbadzi was broken into and thugs made away with over 1 million kwacha cash and 5 cell phones. These items were tendered as exhibits, in some cases being heard at the court. Court clerk Isaac Atusai told us on Sunday that the court does not have permanent security guards and suspects the thieves took advantage of this to break into the court office. Aunyango Homa filed this report.
Mkugula Magistrate Court Clerk Isaac Atusai told us yesterday evening that there were no security guards early morning on Sunday, as the court does not have permanent security guards. According to Atusai, the thieves allegedly took advantage of the absence of the temporary guards to break into the court office. The non-criminals allegedly went away with 1 million kwacha and 5 cell phones that were rendered as exhibits in some cases. Atusai said the incident was reported to Lumbadzi Police. Lumbadzi Police spokesperson Felix Kunyani said police visited the court for assessment but could not provide immediate details. For Zodiac in Idoa, this is Aunyango Nkoma reporting.
Minister of Tourism, Wildlife and Culture, Dr. Michael Usi, says protection of communities around protected areas is key if the tourism industry is to be sustained. The minister was speaking in Kasungu on Monday when he toured the second phase of the 160 million kwacha solar power fence under construction around the Kasungu National Park to protect human and wildlife conflicts. The International Fund for Animal Welfare is erecting the fence with support from USAID. Noam Kubu reports.
Kasungu National Park shares its boundary with communities from 9 traditional authorities in Kasungu, and human-animal conflicts have been the order of the day. The second phase of the solar-powered fence is to cover a 27-kilometer stretch, targeting where elephant breakings are rampant. President of the International Fund for Animal Welfare, Asadine Downs, told Zodiac that the desire is to ensuring that the welfare of people and wild animals is balancing.
So a lot of times people who are in love with animals, they're not thinking about the people. But the fact of the matter is that people are living with wildlife. So Kasungu is not a huge national park if you look at some of the parks around Africa. But the important thing is that the animals don't always stay inside the park.
Speaking after touring the solar-powered fence project, Minister of Tourism, Wildlife and Culture, Dr. Michael Usi, said protection of people's lives is key to sustain the tourism industry.
And also, it's not just the fence, there are also bridges, because these are the weakest points where animals have to go under the bridge. But now they have formed what they are called the barrages. When it rains, the rainwater will be able to pass through. When it stops, then the animal cannot pass through because there's going to be a blockage.
I4 is erecting the 27-kilometer stretch worth over 160 million kwacha from USAID. For Zodiac, this is Noel Nkubwi, Kasungu.
Minister of Homeland Security Richard Chimwendo Banda is hopeful construction of the 300 police houses at Area 30 in Lilongwe, which challenges many in uniform experience, as over 70% of police officers live outside their work premises. The minister was speaking on Monday during a tour to inspect progress of the construction of the houses. Chimwendo Badata reports.
Minister Chimwendo was all smiles as he inspected construction of the 300 police houses at Area 30 in Lilongwe. Chimwendo says the project is likely to meet its implementation schedule after it was rolled out last year. At the site, flats that will take up 4 families each have been put up, with some already at roofing stage.
What impressed me here is that even houses for junior officers, 3-bedroom houses, and senior officers, 4-bedroom houses, very good houses, and I'm impressed with the quality as well. But also, most importantly, I'm also impressed with the job creation. We normally talk about jobs not being created, but so far you have seen over 400 people, according to what is on the ground. There, that side, about 280 here, over 160 people that are employed. Deputy
Inspector General of Police Merin Yolamu said currently 70% of men in uniform lives outside their work premise, and the project will ease the double burden that officers endure.
Police officers are supposed to be camped at one point, like Area 30. We are supposed to be accommodated in Area 30 so that when there is work, immediate work that the officers ought to do, we can call ourselves immediately, assemble at one point and go for that particular work.
Other 50 houses that will be occupied by senior officers are also under construction. Lack of proper infrastructure has remained a huge problem to men in uniform for several years now. This is Chimwemwe Panata for Zodiac.
You're watching the news here on Zodiac. We'll be back with more after this.
Hello and welcome to this week's tobacco sales update after 18 weeks in the 2021 tobacco marketing season. The decrease in the weekly tobacco weight sold from week 14 through week 18 was due to the closure of the Limbe, Chinkoma and Mzuzu flows and further depletion of supplies on the Lilongwe market. The sales declined from 7.7 million kilograms of tobacco in week 14 to 2.1 million kilograms in week 18 this year. The seasonal average price remained high at $1.61 per kg in week 18 this year, compared to $1.54 per kg recorded during the same comparative period last year. By the end of week 18 of sales, 120.7 million kilograms of all tobacco types have been traded, from which the country has generated $193.9 million. During the same comparative period last year, 112.1 million kilograms of all tobacco types had been sold, with earnings totaling $172.2 million. At the end of week 18, the rejection rate stood at 35%, down from 50% in week 17. The Mzuzu flows closed on Friday the 18th, and the Lilongwe flows is this week winding up sales for the remaining stocks. That's all for this week. Thanks for watching.
We are Charismatic Private School. Charismatic Private School is informing the general public that it is opening day and boarding school at Filipina Memorial School. Charismatic School has kindergarten, primary and secondary school. The school has school buses which ferry learners around Lilongwe. Charismatic School has conducive learning environment suiting your child. Charismatic School is situated at Area 22B and Kapini, while Filipina Memorial Boarding School is situated at Area 23, Benito, Lilongwe. For more information, contact Charismatic School on the following numbers. Charismatic Filipina, creating brighter society.
Malawi anzanga, nkhondo yogonjetsa COVID-19 ndi ya wina aliyense. Tili limodzi. Ine ndinasankha kulandira katemera wa COVID-19 atangoyamba kuperekedwa. Chifukwa monga namwino, moyo wanga, umoyo wa odwala amene ndimawasamalira, abale anga, ndi dera langa, ndi zinthu zomwe ndimazika pa mtima panga kwambiri. Katemera wa COVID-19 anditeteza ine ndi ena omwe analandira katemerayo ku chiopsezo choti tingadwale mwakayakaya, kugonekedwa mchipatala, kapena kutaya moyo wathu chifukwa cha COVID-19. Kulandira katemerayo kutithandiza kuthana ndi muliri wa
Network yathu ya Chimalawi ya TNM yakhala ikuthandiza madera ambiri mu njira zosiyanasiyana. Komano pano TNM ikufuna kupitiriza ntchitoyi mogwirizana ndi ife eni ake amudzi. Ndi nkani yabweretsa TNM mudzi wathu. Mukagwiritsa ntchito TNM poimba foni, kutumiza ma SMS, kugwiritsa ntchito internet, kapena kugwiritsa ntchito mpamba, chaka chilichonse TNM idzipereka 1% kapena 1 kwacha pa 100 kwacha iliyonse ya ndalama zomwe yapanga kuti ithandizire pa chitukuko chomwe anthu akufuna mdera lawo. Tikabwera pamodzi ndi kugwirizana chimodzi, tikhoza kupanga zazikulu mmudzi wathu. TNM mudzi wathu. Umodzi unamanga mtolo. Ndondomeko zidzatsatidwa.
I choose to be smart. I choose to live a simple and easy life. I choose not to line up to pay my bills. This is why I go digital. Jump the queue. Pay your Lilongwe Water Board bills through mobile banking. Or you can pay through mobile money, as I always do. You can also check your water bill and balance by simply dialing *253#. With digital payments, you can save time and money. Be smart. Pay your bills on time.
Lilongwe Water Board. Lilongwe Water Board. Portable water all the time for all.
Welcome back. A look at the headlines. Moving on with the news, an education commentator, Benedicto Kondowe, has raised concerns with what he terms as a snail's pace in the construction of 383 low-cost classrooms and drilling of 502 boreholes in schools, projects that were announced to help contain the spread of COVID-19 pandemic. Kondowe says the delays to construct these facilities is creating an unfavorable environment to both learners and teachers in schools. Chimome Badata with more in this report.
Construction of the 383 low-cost classrooms and 502 boreholes in schools was announced as one of the measures to prevent learners from contracting COVID-19. but there seems to be little progress, and this has worried education commentator Benedicto Gondowe.
It is indeed concerning that we are making very minimal progress, yet these are matters that government had committed itself to. Currently, construction of what we call low-cost classrooms is at a narrow space. Not much has happened. Also, the drilling of boreholes is an issue.
However, Minister of Education spokesperson Jigonde Jimala says construction of the low-cost classrooms has rolled out in most schools in rural areas, but the ministry is yet to finalize the procurement processes for the drilling of boreholes.
The ministry is facilitating the construction of 303 classrooms and the drilling of 502 boreholes. To speed up the works, what the ministry did, as you might recall, is that the ministry sent funds for these projects to direct to the schools and the districts. The procurement process is being done locally, funds having already been transferred. We believe also that within the next few days or weeks, some of them would have finalized and the actual drilling would have started and the boreholes will be in use.
Treasury allocated 5 billion waja for the construction of the low-cost classrooms and drilling of the boreholes in schools. This is Chimwemwe Parata for Zodiac.
Economic expert Dr. Bechani Chereni has asked government to force commercial banks to establish branches in rural areas for the country to achieve financial inclusion. Speaking to Zodiac on Monday, Dr. Chereni has singled out long distance to banks as a main factor that has denied 10 million people in Malawi from accessing bank services. Meanwhile, Standard Bank says has made a massive investment in digital capabilities to scale up financial inclusion in the market as the bank boasts of posting 11.6 billion kwacha profit in the first half of the year. Christopher Sander with more.
Dr. Bechani Chereni is of the view that government needs to force commercial banks to establish their branches in rural areas in order to promote social inclusion. Dr. Chereni claims that it is worrisome that many people in various parts of the country walk more than 20 kilometers to access banking services.
Let me take you to the lower Shire, for example. If you go past Njaro, there is no any other banking service until you reach Bangula. And then after Bangula, no any other banking service until you reach Nsanje. You travel between Zarewa and Zingevi, there is no banking service.
A money lending institution, Standard Bank, says has made a massive investment in digital capabilities in order to scale up financial inclusion in the market, as the bank says it has posted 11.6 billion kwacha profit in the first half of the year. Briefing journalists in Blantyre on Monday, the bank's chief executive officer, Philip Madinga, says they are targeting individuals and small and medium enterprises to assist the country to achieve economic growth.
With regards to the investment in technology, key banking systems, but also digital journey that we've embarked, we've seen a strong growth both from in terms of our revenues. We also saw a very strong growth in terms of our balance sheet, both on the asset side and on the deposit side, and consequently, we delivered a very, very strong profitability outcome.
More than 10 million people in the country do not have access to formal banking services. Reporting for Zodiac from Blantyre, this is Christopher Sande.
Nchisi District Hospital is facing a shortage of beds at its COVID-19 treatment center. Zodiac understand currently the facility has 8 beds at its treatment center, which are failing to cope with the pressure of COVID-19 admissions. Gift to Pimba has a report.
Third wave of COVID-19 has hit hard Nchisi District Hospital, with bed space running out oftenly. Currently, the hospital has 8 beds, which are not enough to accommodate patients that trek to the facility. Director of Health and Social Services in the district, Dr. Lombani Montali, says the situation is dire and needs immediate intervention.
Problem we have is that our treatment center, currently the capacity is 8, you can only take 8 beds. So it's not large enough. If you look at the number of cases we have seen, this is the third wave, there are many. So would love if we would have totally new construction in terms of a treatment center, which can be able to take more patients, including pregnant women.
Meanwhile, Malawi Energy Regulatory Authority, MERA, has donated assorted medical equipment worth 17.5 million kwacha to the facility that will help in fight against COVID-19. MERA Consumer Affairs and Public Relations Officer, Fitina Konje, says they made the gesture to avert some of the challenges that the facility is facing.
As MERA, we found it important that we should participate in this fight by donating these equipment. In particular, in this time, we've donated 2 ventilators worth a total of 13 million Malawi kwacha, and we've also donated masks and gloves, and all these 3 types of items have costed us about 17.5 million kwacha.
Nchisi district has cumulatively registered 620 COVID-19 cases. Gift to Pimba, ZBS, Chisi.
In sports, former Civil Service United coach Oscar Kaunda has emerged as top target to take charge of the team for the remainder of the season, following the departure of head coach Frank Ondao and his assistant Elia Kananji. The club is set to announce a caretaker manager in a matter of days. Kaunda is currently head coach at Karonga United. Bright Kanyama with more in this report.
The vacuum created following the departure of head coach Frank Ondawa and his assistant Elia Kananji at Civil Service United is set to be filled with a familiar face emerging as the favourite to take up the role. According to information made available to Zodiak, former Civil Service United coach Oscar Kaunda is the front-runner for the position of head coach. Kaunda, who is the assistant coach at Karonga United, is a popular figure among the decision-makers at Civil, but the decision to appoint him is facing a number of stumbling blocks along the way. Among others, Kaunda is serving a dugout ban at least until the end of the season, and he does not have a minimum required license to head a TNM Super League outfit. However, Kaunda told us that he will first consult Karonga United officials and his family members before deciding on whether to take up the role or not.
I can approach the elders and the supporters of Karonga. If they are great, they can advise me to go, then I can go. But if they say no, I cannot go, because they are relying on me and the Dan's incumbent. So I know Siva is my second home, so they can advise me and take a step from there. As of now, I haven't communicated any official from Siva.
Frank Ondawa and Elia Kananji have been placed on forced leave following a poor run of form in the TNM Super League and the FDH Bank Cup. For Zodiac, this is Bright Kanyama.
And that's about what we had time for in this edition of news. But before we go, a look at the headlines. Court in Zomba finds former MEC Commissioner Linda Kunje with a case to answer for obstructing presidential convoy. Thugs break into Mkukula Magistrate Court in Lumbazi and went away with over 1 million kwacha cash and 5 cell phones. An education commentator raises concerns over snail space in the construction of 383 low-cost classrooms and drilling of 502 boreholes in schools. In sports, former Civil Service United coach Oscar Kaunda emerges as top target to take charge of the team following departure of head coach Frank Ondawa. Visit our website, zodiacmalawi.com, for more news. My name is Robert Karua. Thanks for watching.